The trend of mergers and acquisitions in Nigeria over the years has been cyclical. It's moved in tandem with the growth trajectory of the Nigerian economy. In 2020, there was a sharp decline in the volume of transactions as the economy slipped into recession. As we begin 2021, with Nigeria expected to gradually return to growth, can we expect to see more mergers and acquisitions? Joining us to discuss this further is Messi, analyst at Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Lawrence, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here. Good morning to you. So, with the Nigerian economy projected to recover from anywhere from 1.52% to 2021, should we expect to see a pickup in the volume of mergers and acquisition deals? And if so, how would this impact the economy?
Thank you for having me. Yes, I believe that we should expect to see a pickup in the number of mergers and acquisitions in Nigeria. This is because economic growth is going to be stimulated this year, as we have projected, and it will be highly determined by the COVID-19 vaccinations that's going to take place. And this will affect the economy in a positive way because an increase in the number of mergers and acquisitions would result in an increase in transactions going through the SEC. It would result in more inbound cross-border mergers and acquisitions that will be taking place, which means that there will be more foreign direct investment, increased employment, and increased GDP.
Okay. That sounds reasonable. SEC transactions flowing through the SEC, FDI, and also increase in unemployment and some other metrics. Although with some mergers, they tend to be layoffs. But I'm with you. Okay, so 2020, peculiar year in many respects. Despite the pandemic and economic downturn, some notable mergers took place. One would expect that investors would not take such risks at the time during this pandemic. Why do you think some of those deals that happened were successful?
All right, thank you. Thanks for that question. Yes, economic growth is actually a deciding factor, but it's not the only factor in mergers and acquisition deals. There are other factors to consider, such as the target company's potential, the target company's existing market, the target company's distribution chain as well. All these factors are considered by private equity firms, investors, corporate executives in looking at inorganic growth for their firm. So they are looking more in the long term and not in the present state of things in the economy. As we saw, Stripe acquired Paystack for $200 million in late 2020. This shows that they're looking at more future projections rather than just the economic downturn. And these are the reasons why notable deals took place in 2020.
Fantastic. So based on that, you would say that these companies have a positive outlook for the Nigerian economy. Is that what you're saying?
Of course they do. They have a really positive outlook in terms of innovation, in terms of ideology, efficiency as well, and inclusion.
All right, well, that's good. That's encouraging to hear. All right, so considering Nigeria's business environment, which one would say is unfavorable, what can policymakers do to facilitate further investment in mergers and acquisitions?
All right. That would simply be to just have certainty and stability. Investors want to have policy clarity. They want to know what they're doing. They want to have a time frame. They want to be able to project into the future. So policymakers can improve the climate for mergers and acquisitions by simply having a stable policy climate, by providing investors with policy clarity, and this can be done by helping to improve our ease of doing business index. Nigeria improved in 2019 from 146 on the ease of doing business to 131, which shows that things are actually going in the right direction. But looking back at the recent cryptocurrency ban, it poses some kind of doubt, and those are the kind of doubts that investors do not want to have creeping in. It affects their confidence, and so policymakers can help out by providing suitable infrastructure and by ensuring that the controls they put in place to protect investors do not end up being restrictive rather than promotive.
Do you think that policymakers are listening to what you just said now, as in policymakers that talk to folks in the business segment understand everything you've just said, that, look, there needs to be clarity? And so if we link that back to your prior answer where you said that they're optimistic about Nigeria down the line, does that optimism include the hope that policymakers are paying attention and will make things smoother going forward?
Well, like you said, it includes the hope, and I actually do hope that they're listening, and I'm very sure that they do understand everything that I've just said, because it's for the betterment of the Nigerian economy as a whole and the trickle-down effect it will have on ordinary citizens.
Fantastic. All right, so if we look beyond 2021, what could be the perceived trend for mergers and acquisitions in Nigeria? What sectors would largely be involved?
All right. A lot of sectors would benefit, but a few actually stand out for us. That would be consumer goods, one, financial technology, financial services, and high technology, but not necessarily in that order. Why do I say this? It's because Nigeria has been known to have a vibrant and youthful population where at least more than 50% of the population is around 25 years old and younger. This generation is very technology savvy and acclimatized to using technology, and that's why high technology would actually be an increased trend in mergers and acquisition. As again, I'm referring back to the Paystack and Stripe acquisition. So as more startups, as more fintech come into the fore, we expect more acquisitions like that from foreign companies to establish a footprint in Africa. Now for financial services, they would also like to adapt to the new trend, to the new change, and this results in mergers, combinations with financial technology companies and startups. And the African continent, even and the Nigerian continent, is growing every year. The market size increases, which means more sales, more need for consumer goods. And that's why consumer goods also stands out for us as one of the sectors that would be largely affected by increasing trends in mergers and acquisitions.
Great stuff. So if I take it the way in which you answered the question, you had tech first, financial services second, consumer goods third. Well, although I do want consumer goods, the narrative for consumer goods has been the average Nigerian's income has been squeezed, so they're not able to spend as much on consumer goods. So do you think there are any headwinds? I mean, just talking about consumer goods, I guess for M&A in the future, if you look at things like inflation and the cost of living, could those possibly be some hurdles for consumer goods down the line, you think?
Oh, yes, of course, those would be hurdles. But then the good thing about high technology and financial services is that these are innovations, and these will largely help to include more people in the financial sector, so they would have access to credit. Access to credit is now what will help to now drive further consumption for consumer goods. So I guess that's why I have that in that order.
Fantastic. All right, we've only got a couple minutes to go. The global success rate of mergers and acquisitions hasn't been that, remarkable or mind-blowing. In other words, more mergers fail than succeed. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, it's simply because of things like poor due diligence, cultural clashes, lack of research, actually. But I expect that the rate of failures is going to reduce down the line. Why? This is because of the available information and case studies over the years. As we know, the Chrysler and Benz deal that fell through in 1998, where the merger actually failed, and also we have the Allergen and the Pfizer deal that also fell through in 2016. But what we believe is that in the future, merger and acquisition failures will be reduced because of case studies and improved techniques in due diligence. However, that doesn't mean that there will not be deals that will not succeed. Let me explain this better.
We only have 20 seconds, Lawrence, so we'll have you back because this is a very good conversation, all right? Yeah. Lawrence Messi, analyst at financial derivatives company. Thank you so much for taking us through M&A. Very, very illustrative conversation there.